All right, let's talk about New Year's. We all think we know it, right? Fireworks, the big countdown, making resolutions you might not keep. But what if I told you the story of why and when we celebrate is way more surprising and a whole lot older than you probably imagine?
So let me ask you a question that sounds super simple. When is New Year's Day? Easy, January 1st. But that's not the whole story, not by a long shot. In fact, for most of human history, that answer would have been completely wrong.
Here's the thing. Celebrating the New Year is one of the oldest festivals we have as a species. It's almost universal. But the date, that's always been up for grabs. And even today, for billions of people around the globe, January 1st is, well, it's just a Tuesday or a Friday. You get the idea.
To really get why, we need to go back. I mean, way back. We're talking about the oldest party in recorded history.
So, the first New Year's bash we have any record of happened about 4,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia. The Babylonians had this massive 11-day festival called Akitu. It was a huge deal, all about honoring their gods and giving their king the thumbs up to rule for another year.
And get this, it's not just some story in a history book. The Akitu festival is still celebrated today by Assyrians. But see, these early celebrations weren't tied to some random date on a calendar. They were connected to the rhythms of the planet, like the vernal equinox, that perfect moment in spring when day and night are the exact same length.
Okay, so if the original party was in the spring, how in the world did we end up celebrating in the dead of winter on January 1st? Well, for that story, we can thank the Romans.
You see, for a long time, even the Roman year started in March. Makes sense, right? Spring, new beginnings. But in 1530 BCE, for political reasons, they moved the start of the civil year to January 1st. Then Julius Caesar came along and made it official with his new Julian calendar. But even that didn't settle it. Throughout the Middle Ages, most of Christian Europe actually celebrated New Year's on March 25th. It wasn't until 1582, when the Gregorian calendar was introduced, that the Catholic Church put its foot down and brought back January 1st. And it still took a while to catch on everywhere. England and its American colonies didn't officially make the change until 1752.
But of course, this story doesn't end in Europe. The Gregorian calendar is just one way to mark time. All around the world, there are these incredible, vibrant celebrations that have absolutely nothing to do with January 1st.
I mean, the diversity is just amazing. Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, happens in the fall. Nowruz, the Persian New Year, goes back to those ancient roots and celebrates on the spring equinox in March. And then you have Songkran in Thailand in mid-April, where the whole country gets into these massive, joyful water fights to wash away the old and welcome the new.
And of course, one of the biggest celebrations on the planet is the Lunar New Year. We're talking about a holiday celebrated by over 1 billion people. Its date is tied to the cycles of the moon, so it usually falls sometime between late January and early February. And the festivities can go on for 2 whole weeks.
And then there are celebrations like Hogmanay in Scotland. It's one of the most important holidays of the year there, with huge fire festivals and this really cool tradition called first footing. Basically, the first person to cross your doorstep after midnight is supposed to bring you luck for the whole year.
Okay, but here's where it gets really fascinating. For all the different dates and all the unique customs, when you start to look a little closer, you find these common threads, these shared ideas that connect almost every single New Year's celebration on Earth.
Take the Roman god Janus, the guy January is named after. He had 2 faces. One looked back at the year that just ended, and the other looked forward to the year about to begin. And that idea, that feeling of looking back and looking forward at the same time, that is a universal human experience.
How about New Year's resolutions? Seems like a pretty modern thing to do, right? Nope. It's about 4,000 years old. The ancient Babylonians were the first ones to do it. They'd make promises to their gods that they'd pay back their debts and return anything they'd borrowed, all to get on the gods' good side for the coming year.
And food. Food is another huge common link. So many cultures have symbolic foods for the new year. In parts of Europe, people eat greens because the leaves look like folded money. In Asia, you eat long noodles for a long life. And in southern India, there's a dish that combines 6 different flavors, sweet, sour, salty, bitter, to symbolize all the different kinds of experiences you'll have in the year ahead.
A lot of traditions also come from incredible ancient legends. For the Lunar New Year, there's a story about a mythical beast called Neon that used to terrorize villages. But the villagers figured out the beast was scared of 3 things: the color red, loud noises, and fire.
And that's exactly why the holiday is filled with red decorations, firecrackers, and lanterns. It's all to scare away bad luck for the new year. Even the song that much of the world sings on December 31st, Auld Lang Syne, is part of this incredible web. It actually started as a Scottish poem, later tweaked by Robert Burns, and it was sung during their Hogmanay festival long before the rest of the world adopted it as the official anthem for saying goodbye to the old year.
So this all brings us to the big fundamental question. Why? Why do we do this? Whether it's in January or March or September, why do humans everywhere feel this deep need to celebrate the turning of the page?
Well, at its core, it gives us a moment to just pause. It's a psychological clean break, a chance to look back on the year, maybe with a little regret, sure, but also with this incredible sense of anticipation for what's next.
It's really all about our deep, universal need for a fresh start, a clean slate. It doesn't matter what your culture is or what date you celebrate on. The New Year festival is, at its heart, a powerful collective expression of hope. It's the belief that next year can be better.
And maybe the most important shared tradition of all is that we do it together. We gather with our friends, our families, our communities. Because celebrating that hope, that desire for renewal, is just so much more meaningful when we share it with each other.
So next time you're celebrating a new year, no matter what day it falls on, just think about it. When you make a resolution, or eat a special meal for good luck, or raise a glass with the people you love, you're not just kicking off another year. You are taking part in a 4,000-year-old human ritual of hope. So the real question is, which of these ancient traditions have you been carrying on without even knowing it?